Shall we look to God in prayer? Yes. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you that morning by morning, new mercies we see. We thank you, Lord, for the new strength and the new life and the gift of life. Dear Lord, we thank you for giving us opportunities like this where we can call to our minds the way how you led us in the past and you're a good and faithful God even to lead us through the future. Lord, we commit the speakers today. Lord, we pray that even as they speak to us, Lord, we pray that we'll all have a wonderful time of learning together. Lord, we pray that all the participants from within the country and overseas, we may all have a wonderful day of fellowship and getting to know each other better. We want to see, Lord, that we as an institution will be a blessing, greater blessing than ever before in the days and years that are yet to come. Thank you for the new year that you blessed us with. Continue to be with us and guide us. We pray this in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Yeah.
Thank you all again, and we are missing Dr. Abby Simon, my colleague in the directorate today. He's been the one leading the heritage lectures. I come on behalf of the administration and this whole lecture series and the grand 125-year celebrations, which I think even though the 125 years part is over, I think the heritage will always continue. And a big part of our legacy is handing over, passing the torch and really talking about what has happened historically so that we can continue it in the future. Of course, we've had many departments present before this, and I think it always helps to listen to our roots and learn from them. And it's been such a great blessing for all of these lectures that have happened in the past. And today we're privileged, and I'm privileged to be here for the Department of Biochemistry for their heritage lecture. We have Dr. Daya, she was my teacher, and Dr. Wilfred will join online, also my teacher. And so it's so great to hear from people who taught us, and we have learned, and hopefully we have molded our lives according to what the examples they have set. But with them, we have Dr. Molly from the department itself now, Joe, who's the head, and Dr. Muthukumaran, who will be our moderator. So without further ado, I'll hand over to them, and we're looking forward to, again, immersing ourselves in our history, and especially that of the Department of Biochemistry. Thank you all for attending, faculty, students, and everybody else who's interested. So I'll hand over now to the whole process to the Department of Biochemistry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome all those who have gathered here and friends who have joined online to attend this Heritage Lecture Series presentation from the Department of Biochemistry, titled Looking Back and Moving Forward. Okay, so for today's session, we have 4 distinguished speakers. Dr. Wilfred, who is the former head of the Department of Biochemistry, Dr. Dhayakani Selvakumar, who is the former professor in the Department of Biochemistry, Dr. Molly Jacob, senior professor and former head of the Department of Biochemistry, and Dr. Joe Varghese, professor and former head of the Department of Biochemistry. So Wilfred sir wanted to be here for the meeting today, but couldn't attend because of his health issues. But sir has sent us a video kindly, so we'll be playing that video. The video will be followed by talks from Dr. Dhayakani Selvakumar, followed by Dr. Molly Jacob and Dr. Joe Varghese.
Good morning to everybody. I am glad to present my experiences in the Biochemistry department for about 30 years. The Biochemistry department was started by Dr. Devata, professor and head of the department, in 1962. Dr. T.N. Segar Verma joined the department in 1963. I joined the department in 1965. There was no space for laboratory and lecture. Mr. Barnabas and Ms. George prepared the reagents in a small room in chemistry department. Twice a week, around 1:30 p.m., they carried about 30 reagent bottles to chemistry department. After the practicals over, they brought back all the reagents to the small room. Mr. Panikar from Neurochemistry department and Mr. Joshua from Chemistry department helped with the practicals. Mr. Panikar would come in the morning and correct all the records and come for the practicals. This arrangement was for about 3 years. Madras University has arranged 2 physiology papers in theory for MBBS students. In the second paper, section B contained biochemistry questions, 1 essay and 5 short notes. Over the years, biochemistry became 1 full paper and later 2 theory papers. 80% attendance was mandatory. Internal assessment has to be calculated by continuing a few tests. Biochemistry retarders had to be upgraded. Also, another batch of MBBS students, 8 to 10 in number, came. These are students who have failed in subjects like physics, biology and chemistry in the first year. Also, practicals had to be conducted. During the course of these, BSc nursing, students of at least 60 number had to be taught twice a week for 2 hours. Then another small batch of 13 to 50 students had to be taught. They were students who had initially did diploma in nursing and joined BSc nursing. In addition, a small batch of 6 to 8 students had to be taught chemistry at the level of pre-university level. Dr. Mary Udum joined the department as head in 1968. Since the lab was ready, the lab was furnished with all the equipments needed for the lab, like Manistry, partial water, Klett-Summers color meter, a few weighing scales, and a precision mettler, and also few centrifuges, 1 refrigerated centrifuge, a spectrophotometer, and a walk-in cooler. PhD biochemistry course was started. The first student to pass the course was Dr. Annie Samuel, who worked for 2 years and migrated to London. The others are Dr. Molly Jacob. She went to England to take a 2-year PhD program. On her return, she was appointed as Vice Principal of the college for 4 years. Dr. Minnie Faith worked for a few years. She helped in distance education program of the college and resigned. Dr. K. Prabhu joined the Biochemistry department of Delhi University, became a professor, and later the head of the department. Dr. G. Polakaran joined a private medical college near Trivandrum and became professor. Dr. Selvakumar guided me and Selvakumar to get PhD. Madras University awarded the Andhra University Medallion to me for the best PhD thesis in chemistry. Dr. Selvakumar worked for 2 years, got transferred to clinical biochemistry department, became professor and head of the department and retired. I guided Mrs. Pramila Abraham and Mrs. Dhayakani to get PhD. Dr. Pramila continued the department. Dr. Dhayakani went to Hershey of USA for a few years, and on her return, she became the Vice Principal of the Allied Health Center for 4 years. She taught medical students and was awarded the Best Undergraduate Teacher. I was appointed twice as Chief Student of Examinations for Madras University and also Dr. MGR Medical University. I was appointed as Deputy Registrar for 1 year, promoted to Registrar Academic for 4 years. I was appointed as Chairman of the General Purchase Committee of CMC 2 times. I became a member of the administrative committee for 2 years. I was acting head of internal audit department for 5 years and also a member of the college research committee 3 times. Dr. Van Forsum from Department of Chemistry from USA worked for 2 years. He taught medical students and also did research in the transport of sodium and potassium in tissue slices under various conditions. He also developed the manometric procedure for measuring oxygen uptake by tissue slices and mitochondria. I went to work with Dr. John Omdahl of the Biochemistry Department of New Mexico University at Albuquerque, USA. I was able to purify the vitamin D1 alpha hydroxylase enzyme to homogeneity. And by high precision liquid chromatography, the enzyme showed that it contained a cofactor NADP. The results were published in journal. On returning from USA, I was able to do teaching and research, and I was awarded the Father Yadanapalli Memorial Gold Medal for outstanding research in the institution. Dr. Mary Edom retired around 1978. Dr. Verma became head of the department. Dr. Verma had great passion for teaching biochemistry to medical students. He was an anchor of teaching medical students for many years. He attended all the biochemistry practicals and was the medical students. Dr. Verma retired in 1993 and I took over as head of the department. We are able to put together around 5 LPG gas cylinders, interconnected them to have a common outlet to connect through copper tubes to PG lab, research students lab, and reagent preparation room. We had a chance to conduct the practicals of DIPNB biochemistry students. 4 applied from the southern region. 1 examiner was from Toronto, 2nd myself, and 3rd examiner came from Colored. Each one was given a patient. They had to examine them and collected urine and blood to do test and estimate any blood concern. The next day they presented the results and diagnosis and discussed. This was followed by an exhaustive IOC. After lunch they were given 4 spotters to identify and comment on them. There was 50% pass. Dr. Ravi Kurula, the principal, gave praise from the library. We are able to do the arrangements for individual staff members and also one big room for MD biochemistry students. The principal, Dr. Bhushanam, had already given us a lecture hall exclusively for our students. So this whole setup was dedicated by Dr. Ravi Kurula. Relaxation time to biochemistry staff was also available. Every Thursday we went to pharmacology department. Over the coffee and snacks, we talked about the 2 departments, CMCH, and any topics of interest like cricket and movies, music, politics, etc. for about 40 minutes to 60 minutes. This visit continued for some time till Dr. Ayman, head of the department, retired. Finance for research came from PL480 from USA, ICMR, and 3rd from the institutional grant. Dr. Molly had an ICMR project. Drs. Mary Doom and Dr. Benjamin of the community of the department had an ICMR project. They collected human urine from Kanimadi block. Mrs. Bhaskar took a sample of this and manually analyzed for pH, creatinine, total protein, calcium, phosphate, uric acid, etc. We are told that these values will be reference standard for other centers. The lab staff to Mr. Isaac, Mr. Sridhar and Lalu. The secretaries were Mrs. Pauline Paul, Mr. Desian and Mrs. Trivedi. Mr. Desian typed all the PhD and MD dissertations. A committee of the department had adopted a village near Vellore. The first year medical students spent 1 month there in the village and did small research projects. I returned on 6/7/2003. I thank Joe Varghese for giving me this chance to speak. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Dr. Joe Varghese and Dr. Molly Jacob for inviting me for this Biochemistry Heritage Lecture. Thank you, Dr. Wilfred, for sharing your experience and informing us about the growth of the department. I'm one of the campus kids, and as kids, I didn't know Dr. Bachawat and Dr. A.N. Radhakrishnan were big short stalwarts in biochemistry. My sister and I used to go to their house very often because their daughters were our classmates and friends. And we used to call these people uncles. I never knew later they were such big shots in biochemistry. Also, I was not aware CMC offered 5 courses, 3-year courses, medical MSc. Only in my final year in BSc, the question was, what next? So after completing my BSc chemistry, I applied for MSc, and my father was so busy, so he could not go through the application. He requested Dr. Bachawat to go and scan the application. He just scanned the application and saw that I had written 3 choices. First was biochemistry, second was pharmacology, third was physiology. In front of me, he tore the application and said, no, go get another new form and apply only for biochemistry. At this stage of life, you should be focused, not be applying for so many subjects. At that time, I was quite angry about it, but later on, I know that was the best advice he could give me. And we were 9 classmates, 5 courses. We were 2 in each course. In anatomy, we had only 1. Still, we keep communicating with each other because of the WhatsApp group. And all 9 classmates have done their PhDs, and they're well settled and retired. Most of them are retired now. Dr. Verma was the head of the department. The postgraduate students are, even till today, they're called the trainees, not students. So the department was conducting the seminars, and each one of us were given one topic to prepare and present it in front of the students, our own colleagues, the junior staff and the senior staff. And I was quite nervous when my chance came. I had prepared well. When I presented it, Dr. Verma really appreciated and said, well planned, prepared and presented. That time, we didn't know the principles of medical education or preparing for a class. We always say you must have 4 P's for preparing a lecture. That is, plan well, prepare well, practice well, and present it well. This is the principle we now teach all our junior faculty. Then after my MSc, I joined the College Biochemistry in 1979. I just say, okay. The date says 28 September 1979. My results came on 26 September, and I was very, very fortunate to get an appointment order in 2 days' time, and God's blessings again. And when I joined the department, there were only men. I was the only lady, and I used to feel very, very lonely. And I used to quite often go to Dr. Molly Thomas and discuss with her some of the problems I faced. From 1979 till I retired in 2016, there were several changes in the curriculum and in the year of the year, as well as the 5.5 year course became 4.5 year course, and so on. So in the beginning, 1979, I joined the course, but I took the 1978 batch, who passed out. Dr. Wilfred already said physics, chemistry, biology, and so on. They came for the 279 to the department. And that was 1978 batch was the last batch of having physics, chemistry, biology, and English. Even though 1979, they went through the whole course, they didn't write the exam, but they were all promoted to the next year. That was 1980. So we had 60 students of 1979, as well as 30 students from 1980. Dr. Molly belonged to the first batch, and she was an open student in that year. My first student, we were, as junior faculty, we had to go to all the practical classes, and it used to be fun because Dr. Verma will be giving the instructions, and a lot of boys used to do a lot of mischief. Girls will be enthusiastically standing in front, and boys will somehow take the test tube rack and tie it onto their long plaits and so on. We as junior faculty had fun. And then Mr. George, who was our attender, used to tell the students, today we are going to have milk experiments. So the students will be prepared and they'll come with coffee and sugar. And instead of doing the experiment, some of them will make coffee even for us, and we've also enjoyed the coffee. One day there was fire in the department, and that day Dr. Verma was so angry. That was the end of all the pranks from the students. Then from 1980 to 95, biochemistry was taught in first year for only 9 months. Exams were in April. And from 95 to 97, biochemistry was taught for about 16 months. Exam was in November. 97 to 98, biochemistry was taught for 10 months. Exam was in June. 1999 till 2016, it was taught for 12 months because the selection was in July. Exams were in August. Earlier teaching method was only didactic lectures, and as all of you know, it is a little difficult to teach biochemistry. Most of the time, it will be only passive learning, only laboratory practicals. Then we have the current teaching methods. We have lectures, and we have also interactive teaching. Many staff members take some case studies and they explain the case along with the teaching material. So nowadays, I think it's more active learning than passive learning. Then case studies are brought in, and sometime in 2005 or so, ILP was started, which includes PBL. ILP is integrated learning program where we integrate the whole first year teaching, physiology, biochemistry, anatomy, we call that as horizontal teaching. And then we also integrated with surgery, medicine, radiology, and so on. And every time in biochemistry, when we finish a major topic, we have a guest lecturer so that the student will know what they are going to become. And we take them to the ICUs also. Laboratory practicals still will go on, but we have charts, OSPE, and visit to clinical labs. Earlier assessment methods were internal assessments, and it was not seriously taken. We had internal assessment, but not seriously taken. Now, then we had theory, written exam paper with MCQs, long answer questions, short answer questions, and Viva. Laboratory practical examination. Now we have internal assessment and Viva, and it is really seriously taken. We have to send the marks to the university. They will add it with the written marks. We have theory written papers, 2 papers. Initially, it was, Dr. Wilfred mentioned, it was with physiology. Then we had it with 1 paper with only biochemistry. Then we had 2 papers. I'm not sure of what we have now. We have 2 papers? Yeah. And laboratory practical examination with OSPE. OSPE is objectively structured practical exam and charts. And Dr. Wilfred explained, we were all sitting inside the lab. And it really was not so good for the faculty as well as for our technical staff. With this initiative, he asked Dr. Ravi Korla, because the library was shifted down. So he asked for the new space, and in 2002, we moved out from the lab to our new spaces with individual or little bit of sharing. That was all Dr. Wilfred's initiative. And at one time, we were only 4 lady faculty. We didn't have any men in the faculty at that time. Dr. Mini, Dr. Molly, Dr. Mini, Dr. Premila, and me. And later on, the men of the department recognized and started celebrating the Women's Day. This is one of the days to give us breakfast and also some sort of gift, which is very, very useful. And this is in 2016. I had taken a long leave before my retirement. One of the Christmas celebrations with the whole department. And I just want to end up with the strengths of biochemistry department. First one is planning. Planning is so meticulously done. Even this lecture, Dr. Joe called me and said, can you come for a 15 minutes meeting? We'll just plan what each one is going to say. I said, fine. And not only that, all our lecture schedules, everything is planned ahead of time. Maybe a year or maybe 1 term. Each faculty is given their schedule, and everything goes on according to the date. Even I heard another faculty say, even if a sports day, the January 8th Republic Day, Sports Day is arranged so well that there is no hiccup at all. Feedback. Another system where we had this feedback system was brought in by Dr. Molly. We never knew the principles of education at that time. After every topic, a feedback will be given to the students and it will be analyzed by her. And if there is any negative comment, she will call the person separately, discreetly, and mentor them. And this system is very, very good system. Now, this is one of the topics in the medical education system. Thank you, Dr. Molly, for bringing that. Even now we have that. Remedial teaching. Those days, remedial teaching was done only after class hours. Students, because they're first year and they're from school, they really need some coaching. So it used to be after work hours. Now it is included in the record writing session, and I'm very sure the students have benefited and they're very, very grateful for this remedial teaching. Then research awards. There are so many research awards from our department. Dr. Molly, Dr. Premila, Dr. Joe, Dr. Muthu, all of them have got, Dr. Prakash, and all of them have got some national or international awards. I'm very, very happy to say Dr. Wilfred mentioned this. Reverend Father Lourdes Yadanapalli Award. Our faculty alone, 3 faculty have got this. And one was Dr. Wilfred, Dr. Molly, and Dr. Joe. Very, very proud to say Biochemistry department is doing very well in research. And the next one is the Best Teachers Award. Dr. Molly Thomas, who was involved in education, and when he passed on, Dr. Thomas Barney introduced this, and I'm very proud to say 3 faculty members have got this award within a few years. And this is my last batch group of students. Really, my first batch of students was only one student. She had failed in the first 5.5 year course, and it was so difficult. I had just got through my MSc. I had to really prepare well for her. It was more like a combined study than teaching. I'm very proud to say she got through the first time itself, but unfortunately, we lost her in an accident during the holidays. And now I want to thank, this is my course of progress. I joined the department as a MSc student, and then passed out MSc. Then Dr. Wilfred was my first, my guide. I will thank him later. And got my PhD, went for my postdoc, and then the career. From blackboard writing to overhead projector, and then to computers. Now, I want to say this is, I love puzzles. You have to put all the puzzles to give the best picture. Okay, even now I play with my grandchildren. I played with my children, and with my grandchildren, I play with puzzles starting from very junior level to the higher level. Biochemistry department helps students to imagine themselves as doctors, because we take them to the ICUs, we take them to the clinical lab, and later they will think, oh, we are going to become big doctors. So they see the big picture in small pieces of puzzle. I want to thank everyone who have made my, and this is, I was the first student for Dr. Wilfred, and this is my graduation picture with my parents. I was the youngest, so they were very happy that I had got my PhD. Before that, I want to thank many of them, all my professors, starting from Dr. Verma, Dr. Wilfred, Dr. Kanagasabadi, Dr. Molly Thomas, Dr. Mary Doom. She didn't teach me or anything, but she was our neighbor, and she was always interested somehow in my siblings' career as well as my career. When she knew I was had taken MSc, she was very, very happy about it. And she also, when I went to US for my this postdoc, she used to call up every month to see how I was progressing. I was always grateful to her. Then also, Dr. Wilfred was my PhD guide. He helped me a lot because I was expecting my first child. I was grateful to him for all his help. We had to shift the rats to the basement. We had a small rat colony. We had to shift everything to the basement for summer. And there was a lot of junk in the basement. I used to be very scared to go to the basement, there were stories of ghosts as well as there were stories of snakes. I don't know about the ghosts, but there were definitely snakes there. Somehow they would smell the rats in the makeshift room and gain entry. So Dr. Wilfred will say, Dhaya, you don't have to feed the rats. I will do the feeding of the rat. From upstairs, he'll go downstairs with all the food and water and so on. I also want to thank my friends, Dr. Molly and Dr. Premila, for helping me during my major sickness and during my tragedy in my family. I want to thank Dr. Joe, who has done a lot to the department, and he was a mid-level staff when I retired, but when I was making the schedule, everything, he used to be so cooperative with me. Dr. Prakash and Dr. Muthu, they all joined when I was leaving the department, but still, I'm not so good in computers. They only used to help me out with computers. And there are many new people who have joined the department. I want to thank because you're still keeping up biochemistry going forward. And I want to thank Mr. Barnabas, who's no more with us. He was a senior technician at that time, and he taught us all the tricks of the trade. You will remember what the tricks of the trade are. And also, Mr. Sridhar and Mr. Isaac, Sridhar still helps me. 2 days back, I was quite desperate because I had to travel to Kanikapuram every day, and he was in the hospital. I told him, can I get the GS number, please? He said, no, ma'am, I'm still in the hospital. I'll go talk to them. And through his help, I've got now permission to take the bus from rehab to Kanikapuram every day. And I want to thank also Mr. George, who was the attender at that time. And he needn't have helped me at all, but he helped me to clean the rat room. Once in 3 days, we had to clean. I will be doing the cleaning. He'll say, Amma, you don't do it. I will do it. I'm always grateful to him. And Mr. Lalu, who joined in 2003, I think, in the department, he's done a lot of jobs for me. And finally, I'm very, very grateful to God, who has really guided me each step and helped me to enjoy my career as teaching professor. Thank you, Dr. Molly and Dr. Joe, Dr. Muthu, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dhaya. I must confess those stories came back, and I must confess I was part of the coffee club in the biochemistry lab. Don't tell my current students this. And I also was witness to the fire that one of my classmates lit on that, naming no names, Davidson Solomon. I hope you're hearing this. So yes, Dr. Varma got very tough with us, but we all have very good memories of Dr. Varma, so we'll attest to that. Right, so I've titled my bit of the talk as Evolution of and Revolutions in Teaching, Training and Research in the Department of Biochemistry. So we've always been an academic department, and our main domains have been in teaching, training and research. And what I'm going to do is to try and give an overview of these activities over the years. So I'll start with the domain of teaching. And the origins of the Department of Biochemistry are a bit unclear. But clearly, teaching the undergraduates was one of its first activities as a department. But at what point in the last 125 years did this teaching start? So I looked back at a lot of files, and archives was of great help. And I found a document in the files that Dr. Wilfred had written in, I think, the time of the centenary souvenir, and the minutes of the Association and Council of the Missionary Medical College for Women in Vellore, the annual report in August 1945. And in that, if you look at this, I will just, excuse me. So if you look at that here, it says under biochemistry, the department started its work in January 1944 with teaching of biochemistry to the second-year students. And this was written by Dr. Uman. She has stated it's a one-year course, And Dr. Oman was a professor of chemistry, and chemistry and biochemistry sort of worked very closely together in those years. So this document shows that teaching of biochemistry started in 1944. The next document that we have access to is annual report of the Department of Biochemistry dated 1957, and Dr. S.C. Devdatta, who was the first head of the department, is listed there along with other staff. So the department existed at least in 1956, we think, because we have an annual report in 1957. And here, they say they taught biochemistry to first and second year medical students. And we also have the mention that Dr. Hansen was a lecturer in biochemistry who joined the previous year. So again, adding to our conclusion that the department definitely existed as an independent entity, at least in 1956. And these were the staff at that point, and they shared premises and facilities in the early years with the Department of Chemistry. So Dr. Devdatta, unfortunately, I was not able to find any pictures. If anyone has anything, please do get in touch with the department and let us have it. Dr. Hansen, also no photo available, but I was able to find one of Dr. Mary Doom, whom Daya has mentioned at several points. So this is one that Archives helped us retrieve. So that's Dr. Mary Doom and Dr. Ida B. Scudder. And this house, when I saw this picture, it really raised a lot of excitement for me, because this is a house that I lived in for 10 years of my life here. And it's the one that's at 340 Kailash Road, where Dr. Vikram Matthews, the director, currently lives. And those of you in the department who were there in those years will also know this house well, because we all gathered there for the Christmas parties each year. And so this was interesting. It's the first picture I've seen of Dr. Mary Doom. And here's another picture of them. So that house was where the two of them lived together, because they were both single. So from the documentation, we see that Dr. Mary Doom was clearly the leader who provided the leadership to establish the Department of Biochemistry in its present premises. And she was ably aided in this by Dr. Varma, who joined in 1961, according to the files. And Dr. George Van Rossum joined sometime during this time, and together they taught the students. This is a picture of Dr. Varma in his post-retirement years. I was unable to get one of him during his working years. For those of you who don't know him, he used to wear whites to work every day, so his customary whites were very characteristic of him. So in 1962, the departments of biochemistry and chemistry were made separate, and the laboratories seem to have been completed in 1966. And there were several funding sources that were documented as having helped in these processes. There's mention in an annual report of 1960 to 61 that a separate paper in biochemistry came into effect in 1960. And as Dr. Wilfred and I alluded to earlier, it used to be part of physiology before that. Then it became two papers in 1997, when there was this major change in the first MBBS course, changing from 1.5 years to 1 year, which was implemented from 1997. Biochemistry was always around 1 year. Daya has alluded to the various teaching periods that we had, but basically it was 1 year, but they increased the amount we had to teach. So the 1 year was stressful on us as well. So the courses that we have currently are the undergraduate programs, BSc, MABS, BSc Nursing, PVBSc, and the allied health courses, the degree courses in various specialties. And the postgraduate courses we currently have are the MD course and the MSc Clinical Nutrition course. And I'll come talk about our MSc Biochemistry course in a little bit. So when looking back at the files, it's been most educative for me. I find that in the 1960s to 70s, the recurring theme in the annual reports, actually even up to the 1980s, was a lack of adequate staff. And this was something that the Department of Physiology also said in their heritage lecture about a month ago. And so I know exactly what they were talking about, because we continue to face such challenges up till about, I would think, the mid-2000s. Things have improved since. And so I thought it was interesting to look to see how has it changed. So if you look at it, there's been a trajectory of increase over the years. And so this is where we are now at our largest level. We are, I think, 29 people at the moment. Another theme of the annual reports of those years was there was lack of adequate space for the department. And so I looked at that as well and then found that, yes, we have had increases from the 60s up to where we are here. And these additional spaces have come in various forms, the lecture hall, faculty offices, which I alluded to, the PG's room, and of course our research labs. And this is a picture of the inauguration that Dhaya has already alluded to. Dr. Ravi Korla was the principal at the time, and he inaugurated the offices that we all sit in now, and which is a marked improvement from what we had before. And this is the same picture that she's already shown you. And another picture, I thought I'd include this because we have this dashing young man in the middle here, who all of you know, I'm sure. So I thought it'd be fun to have him feature in our talk as well. So in the early years, the undergraduate program, as Dhaya mentioned, consisted of didactic lectures and practical experiments in the lab. We had only chalk and blackboard. If you ask people of my vintage and senior, all we remember of biochemistry are all the structures that Dr. Verma used to come and write on the board from one end to the other, none of which made any sense to any of us. So the amount of time and effort that went into it was incredible. Then, of course, we moved to the overhead projector. And then from 2003, we really got high tech. We began to get digital projectors of increasingly better quality. And the first one was from an Asha educational grant, which came in around that time. Of course, now we have smart boards, but F1 is still to get one. And so I hope the principal is listening somewhere. Bablu, that's why I showed that picture of you. F1 needs a smart board. So the undergraduate teaching major revamps were brought in from the early 2000s, and we made the teaching relevant to the needs of the students of each course, depending on what area they were in. The MBBS course is our flagship course, and so we put in a lot of time and effort into them, and the focus became on clinical relevance of learning what we taught them. And so as part of this, we did a lot of vertical integration in the first year of the course, which was not, which was new at that time. And so we had clinical case-based small group discussions. The clinicians who came in to teach them in the first year after every topic in biochemistry, we did visits to the intensive care units because the intensivers who came to teach were very enthusiastic about having our students there, and that has been a tremendous boost in our educational system. And we also went to they sent them to the biochemistry diagnostic laboratories. In the clinical years, we continued, did integrated teaching during clerkship, as and when time permitted, or there was provision for it in their program, and the final year medical students during their medicine posting. As part of the integration that we introduced in first year, we had the Integrated Learning Program, or the ILP, which I alluded to. This was started in 2003. We started with the GI system, and we had different elements: PBL, filler lectures, practical classes, clinical visits, etc. And so this helped us in horizontal integration among the three departments, and we reviewed and modified each year and improved or changed, revised appropriately. And this is something that continues to date. And this is a paper that came out of that exercise of ours, where we showed that an effective integrated learning program in the first year of the medical course can work in our country. We brought in common test schedules for all the three departments, and that worked well. We made it 8 a.m. so that people wouldn't bunk earlier classes to study for tests later in the day. And so that's something that's worked well as well. And of course, the weekly support classes for poor performers that I alluded to earlier. And we find that early identification of poor performance is important. From 2007, we developed our e-learning site and developed a whole lot of resources for it. So all our lecture presentations, all the teaching material we use, and information about biochemistry for each course, it's all up there. And these e-learning resources also, this exercise resulted in a paper on the impact of e-learning resources in biochemistry from the medical student's perspective. This is another really important thing, I think, that we introduced early in the 2000s to have the students evaluate us and tell us how we are doing. And it has been very illuminating to have this feedback because it has helped us improve what we do. Sometimes we're not even aware what we are doing wrong. And so I believe this has made for more effective teaching and learning. As alluded to this, we are proud to say we are the recipients of 3 Best Teacher Awards in these years from CMC. And faculty members have been members of various academic bodies at the level of the university and also the erstwhile Medical Council of India. And this has helped us engage with those who are in authority. And we have been successful in many ways in influencing policy and practice in the MBBS teaching, in the way we train, and in the assessments that are run. And there's more scope for improvement, and I hope that will happen over the years to come. And we were also part of the CMC's team for MCI's Vision 2015 document. Much of what we put in there, many departments from CMC were involved because Dr. George Matthew, the principal at the time, was the coordinator of that exercise. And so it eventually did become part of the 2019 CBME curriculum. So other things we teach apart from biochemistry are values. And plagiarism is something that we feel very strongly about. And so we do sessions for first clinical year students. We used to do it in first year, and we found it's too much for them at that point. So we now do them for the first clinical years and also for the GCP workshops in CMC. And the other thing that we grapple with now are concerns about AI use for students, which have surfaced in the last 2 years. And so we have now reviewed and made changes in our assessment systems for assignments and the Devdatta Prize. And I'm sure this will continue to evolve as we go along. So that's for the teaching part. And I'll just very quickly do the postgraduate training, what we have done. So the department was recognized for MD and MSc training in 1967. The MD course, it was 1 seat a year, and in 2011 it became 2 seats in a year. The MSc has our course had 2 seats every year, and Dhaya has already talked about how the MSc courses were run. Now, in the MSc course in 1990 and 1991, students from our department won the university rank for the highest marks in biochemistry. There's Pramila and some Lalita, who was in a batch junior to her. Now, from the early 2000s, again, we revamped the training for the MSc and MD courses, and we began to lay emphasis on skills and competencies that they should acquire during the course. And so lab techniques, writing skills, communication skills were things that we laid emphasis on. And from that point onwards, MSc students were required to do a research project, even though it wasn't a mandatory requirement. The MD training, the goals of training, we focused on them acquiring skills and expertise in teaching and training both medical students and postgraduate trainees, and running a diagnostic lab, and to be able to carry out research at the end of their course. Hands-on experience in modern lab techniques was an important focus we placed on them as well, and we started the weekly journal club for them. And from 2007 onwards, we began to do regular formative assessments of all their academic activities. So that's an ongoing assessment that's happening all the time. And from 2011 onwards, we have actually a formal intra-departmental appraisal for MD students every 6 months. Then we introduced postings in gastro, hepatology, endocrinology, and in the ICU. And some of these we've been able to get into the NGR Medical University system by engaging with them, but there's still scope for more to be done. And we were able to do this because we were members of many of their boards of studies and their other academic bodies. So unfortunately, the university discontinued the MSc course in 2013, and so that, well, despite our best representations, and so that course no longer is being run by CMC. So the third domain that we have is on research, and as alluded to Dr. Mary Doom, she was the second head of the department, and she was the head of nutrition research, and she was based on the hospital campus. And she came over and took over the department of biochemistry and chemistry, which were not totally separate at that point, in 1961. And she had, as I said, some staff mentioned who joined her. Now, she raised money for the physical infrastructure of the department in its present premises. And what was interesting in the annual report that I saw was that she made provision even then for a small research laboratory, space for equipment, and an improvised animal house. So she set the bar high, and she set the foundation for things to come. So in the 1960s, the department got a PL 480 grant from the US, and that enabled purchase of equipment, which helped the department progress. And this is something that I found from Dr. Van Rossum, one of his grant applications on work. So that was interesting. So I've just reproduced some of that here from the files that I was able to access. So it's interesting to see how they did it, very similar to what we do now, but to have done it all that time ago really took much initiative and perseverance. So it's probably possibly an external grant application, but it's not very clear from the documentation. So, and here, again, this is an undated document, but it says that there was deficiency of essential amino acids. That was a theme in the early years, and studying various aspects of this and the malnutrition and the bladder stones project. Recognition for PhD training came in 1967, and here from Dr. Varma's CV, which is undated, he mentions the PL 480 grant and his PhD candidate, who was Dr. Wilfred. So Dr. Wilfred, as has been mentioned earlier, received the Andhra University Medallion for the best PhD thesis of the year for the period 1971 to 72. So the major themes in the decades were, clearly malnutrition in the early years and transport of cations. And then in the 80s and 90s, work on hepatic alkaline phosphatase in rats, bone pathology in thyroid diseases, and how a high sucrose diet affects atherosclerosis, and the effect of carbon tetrachloride on various organs in rats. In 1995-98, I went on study leave, trained at King's College in London, returned, and by that time, Pramila had also finished a PhD training here in CMC. And from 2000 onwards, we began to get extramural grants. And you can see this started with NSAIDs in my case, methotrexate in the case of Pramila. And for the first time, we had full-time research fellows in the department who were fully supported by extramural grants. So this is a graph depicting the number of PhD students over the years. The yellow ones are the full-time ones, and you can see that there's been an increase over the years. And in addition to these, we also have currently 2 postdocs and 3 research fellows in the department. So in addition to the training, in 2002, I availed of an STF from CMC, which enabled me to train in iron metabolism in King's College in London. And that helped me start the iron studies group we have in the department today. And I'm very grateful to my 2 collaborators at that time. One was Robert Simpson, who's one of my PhD supervisors, and the other one was Andrew Mackay, who worked in iron also at that time. He was working with Robert Simpson, and Andrew Mackay is the one that Joe went to train with subsequently as part of his Wellcome Trust DBT India Alliance Fellowship. And so this really helped do what we needed to do to apply for an ASHA grant in 2003. And that gave us the BSL, which many of you are now think of it as, take it for granted. So it was sanctioned in 2004. And this was the inauguration in 2007. And the ribbon cutting at that point. And the basic science laboratory funded by ASHA USAID, which unfortunately no longer exists. Not the BSL, but USAID. So these are pictures of the laboratory facilities, the inside of the labs, and some of the equipment that we had. And this gave us a reasonably well-equipped lab, and it really changed things for us. And so it boosted our research efforts, of course, and it improved our prospects for extramural funding. And we also ran workshops, one of the brochures from it, another one that we had from the time. So these workshops also, apart from having us get our act together and organize things, of course, those gave us skills no end, but it also helped raise the profile of the department, both within the state and in the country. And subsequently, it helped us raise it internationally as well in the field of iron biology. So we've been able to sustain the BSL since 2007, and all of this has come from extramural funding. And so physiology looks after the 2nd floor, and we look after the ground and 1st floors. So this has also enabled innumerable collaborations within CMC, a large number of departments that we collaborate with. We have collaborations with other centers in India, and we have a number of international collaborations as well. Our extramural grants have come from various Indian funding agencies as well as from international agencies, and these have also been extremely beneficial in moving our work forward. So I'm just going to say a little bit about the Iron Studies group, which we've had since 2002, and you can see we work in different areas: anemia, pregnancy, insulin resistance, alcoholic liver disease, gestational diabetes mellitus, and this is what our iron group currently looks at, a most recent picture taken last year. And as a result of the work in iron that we do, we had an international symposium in 2023, where we had a number of eminent experts who came for the symposium, and that's been something that we can look back on with pride. Other areas of current research work in the department involve looking at methotrexate-induced intestinal toxicity and endometrial carcinoma, and diabetes mellitus and pancreatic beta cell function. Now, these collaborative links, especially those abroad, have enabled study leave opportunities for our faculty and students, and there have been exchanges of research personnel in both directions. And these are some of the people who have been able to avail of those opportunities. This is just a graph showing the extramural funding from Indian agencies from the 1960s up to the current, up to date. And so you can see there's been a good increase. And this has been the extramural funding from foreign agencies from 1960s onwards. And again, there's been an increase. And the last one is yet to be finalized. We'll wait to see how much we're getting there in the final sanction. The number of publications in the department, again, have increased over the years, and I hope that is something that we will continue to improve upon. And Dr. Daya mentioned this as well, the Father Lud Yadnapalli Research Award for researchers in CMC. Proud to say that there are 3 faculty in the department who have received this award. And there have been other awards, national awards, that our faculty have been recipients of, from the ICMR, the DBT, from the Tamil Nadu State, an early career fellowship from the Wellcome Trust DBT India Alliance, and a fellowship of the Royal College of Pathologists conferred based on published work. The Jacob Chandy Core Research Chair for Preclinical Disciplines has been held by Biochemistry since its inception. And faculty have also been co-authors of Harper's Illustrated Biochemistry for the last 4 editions, and these are the chapters that we have done in them. And most recently, the ICMR invited CMC to apply for a multidisciplinary research unit, which has been sanctioned. And so this is something the basic science departments were closely involved in helping put together. And so we thank the Vice Principal's Office for Research for supporting us through this, and we look forward to working in this facility as well. And so I just wanted to end by showing something from the hospital day, an educational activity which our department set up for students, and another one where the results of our research work, actually we try to disseminate it to the public because it's of public health importance. So it's to do with iron and pregnancy. And so we have transformed, the department has transformed itself in major ways over the decades since its beginnings. And we are truly grateful for all the blessings we have received. And we're also grateful to the administration for all its support over the years. And so just in case you think, we are all work and no fun, no, we are lots of fun. We celebrate lots of things: birthdays, International Women's and Men's Days, picnics, department Christmas parties, with a theme every year. So this is a picture from 2004, a few random pictures that I've picked up. You can see how small we were then. And 2014, we got a little bigger. Then International Men's Day 2021. This is where we gave the men a plant each. Bad idea, never give men plants unless they're avid gardeners, like some people we know. They killed it in Chuto. But I thought I'd show this because we never let them forget it, that they killed our gift. 2016, I've shown this picture of International Women's Day. And here's a Christmas party. And you can see this is one of our madder ones. The theme was headgear. And there's another one, the theme was seasons. And so you can see that we're fun too. And this is our most recent picture of our department Christmas party. We all look much more normal and sober here. But the theme this year was States of India. So if you look closely, you will find dashing Prakash there in his Bengali dhoti and amongst the others. So that's I'd like to end by thanking the Archives Department for the material we were able to access, and Muthuraman and Nikita for helping put together some of the graphs that I used. And so thank you all for your attention.
Right, okay, so yeah, start off, I'd like to thank Dr. Wilfred, Dr. Dhaya, and Dr. Molly for taking us through the pathways that Biochemistry has taken to be here. And I think a lot of what I was planning to say has already been alluded to, so I just keep mine short in the interest of time. So yeah, as we know, what we are majorly involved in is with teaching and training, research, and some of us have also taken on institutional administrative responsibilities. So I'll just keep this short. In the domain of teaching and training, as has been alluded to, teaching the first year MBBS students is a major responsibility, but we also teach other courses. We teach nursing courses and a whole bunch of AHS, both UG as well as PG courses. And as Dr. Molly and the earlier speakers alluded to, clinically oriented small group teaching is something that we've done, and we will continue to do that. And the implementation of the CBME has brought on new challenges, and we already had the foundation set there, so it wasn't too much of a change for us to make our teaching clinically oriented and small group, because it was something that we always done. At least ever since I was there in the department, I've always seen that emphasis. And again, over the last couple of years, AI is bringing on new challenges. But I also think it brings in new opportunities as well. So it is for both us teachers as well as the students to adapt to these challenges and take advantage of the opportunities that it provides. We have a very strong MD Biochemistry program. It's going to be 60 years next year. So 1967 was when it started. So we're going to celebrate 60 years of our MD program next year, and we want to strengthen it further by deepening our collaborations with the Department of Clinical Biochemistry. Hopefully in the near future we'll increase the number of seats from 2 to 4. But for all of this and to in general improve what we provide already, we really need to work with the university. And I think Dr. Molly already alluded to that. Many of the changes that we see today in the national curriculums have actually happened because people have taken the effort to be part of academic bodies in the university, be part of board of studies, and that's something that we want to do more as we go forward. The PhD program, again, we've had 14 PhDs come out of our department, and currently Dr. Molly, Dr. Premla, and myself are recognized guides in the TN MGR Medical University, and currently there are about 7 students pursuing research, hopefully leading to PhD. Research, again, Iron Studies group, I've been part of this group that Dr. Molly actually started, and now we have other faculty members who are part of it. Dr. Padmanabh and Dr. Monica and Dr. Asodi are integral parts of this group, and there are some pictures of some of the work that we do, and the group works on various conditions where iron is relevant: anemia, diabetes, especially gestational diabetes, wound healing, liver diseases, endometriosis, so on and so forth. Dr. Premla and Dr. Muthu's group again works on anti-cancer drug-induced organ toxicities, and they have an interest in targeting endometrial cancer stem cells as well. So work that's going on. Yeah, Dr. Muthuraman, he is now all set to go on a study leave to IIT Madras, the Center for Integrative Biology and Systems Medicine, where he will be studying the role of gut microbiota in the pathogenesis of autism spectrum disorders. Dr. Padmanabhan is also registering for a PhD with the University of Melbourne, and his interest is in metabolic and genetic basis of obesity and diabetes in Indian population. So I'm hoping that these faculty members will come back with new skills, new training that will take our research forward in the years ahead. Dr. Prakash has an interest in medical education, so he's also the co-convener of the medical education department, and he also is interested in immunometabolism. It's basically the interaction between the immune system and metabolism. Dr. Monica Peter and Dr. Asode Raju are both part of the Iron Studies group, but they also have independent research interests. Dr. Monica is also interested in experimental models of acute pancreatitis, something that she does with the gastro department. Dr. Asode looks at iron and vitamin D in pregnancy as part of the Iron Studies group. We encourage student research, and many students have finished projects. Medical students have finished projects in our department. Many of them have been under the ICMR short-term studentship scheme. Others are not part of the scheme, but yet finished their projects. And some of them have actually gone on to present their work at national and international conferences. And that's something that we want to encourage. And more medical students, I'm happy to say, are actually coming forward and, asking us for projects. And that's something that we in the department would like to encourage and, help them do these small projects. Again, the multidisciplinary research unit, which was sanctioned last year by the Department of Health Research, it's definitely a major development for us, and it will improve the facilities that we already have, and it aims at encouraging and enhancing ongoing research, especially research that's collaborative in nature, which I think is the way forward. The department is growing, and we have 4 professors right now, 2 associate professors, 2 assistant professors. We all set to welcome 2 new assistant professors, hopefully this year, ably assisted by technical and support staff, and we have a growing number of research scholars in the department. And just to conclude, there's some more pictures from the fun times in the department: themed Christmas parties, picnics, informal coffee get-togethers, farewell gatherings, and of course the international men's and women's celebrations, which we religiously follow every year since 2006. So I'd like to conclude by thanking God for His guidance. We've seen that we started in very small ways, and we've come a long way, and we have a long way to go as well. And for that, I have to thank all the previous faculty and staff who have brought us to where we are, and also the current faculty, staff, and students for all the hard work, the sincere effort that they take. It is a great department to work in, and really want to thank everybody for that. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for.
Yeah, it was indeed a pleasure to listen from the stalwarts who have played a phenomenal role in the development of our department. I especially want to thank all the speakers, Wilfred sir for his insightful and profound talk, Dhaya ma'am for her inspiring and lovely talk, and Molly ma'am for being a linchpin in catapulting the growth of our department, and Joseph for having vision and zeal for taking this legacy forward. Not just taking forward, but he also has a vision to take this to a greater height. Looking back, we appreciated the fact that the growth and progress of our department was a collective effort of all the pioneers who had worked in the past. Moving forward requires courage and strength, to confront and embrace the challenges. And I think we can do that by anchoring onto our legacy as an anchor and also as a springboard to accomplish our challenges. Okay, so we have come to the end of this session. I would like to thank all those who have helped us in arranging this heritage lecture series. Especially want to thank communications department, and then the telemedicine department. We want to thank the archives department, Dr. Reena Judge and Mr. Yesu for providing us with most of the material that we have presented today. And I'll just see if I'm missing someone to thank. And I also want to thank Dr. Pramila Wilfred, who has helped us in collecting the video from Wilfred sir. So thanks everyone. Thanks for joining, and have a great day ahead.